The River Valley civilizations. The sum total of all the aspects of organized life in a society, which includes administration, language, cultural expression, and worship, is called civilization. Let's see the differences between Mesopotamian, Egyptian, and Chinese civilizations. The Mesopotamian was between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. The Egyptian was along the river Nile, and therefore Egypt is called the gift of the Nile. The Chinese civilization was along the river Huanghe. Mesopotamian civilization was around 3000 BCE, Egyptian between 3000 and 1000 BCE, Chinese was around 1765 BCE. The important archaeological structures that we found in the Mesopotamian civilization were the ziggurats. The Egyptians made the Sphinx. It's got the head of a man and the body of a lion. The Great Pyramid of Giza, Karnak and Abu Simbel temples are also great architectural structures. The Chinese civilization had a city called Anyang, and town planning was good in that. The Sumerians were the first to grow wheat. They were also the world's first traders. They learned how to use the coin. They were the first to use wheeled carts. They were the first to develop a script, and this was a cuneiform script because the language was written in the form of wedges. It was written with reed pens and on wet clay tablets, and they'd bake the clay tablets and it would become engraved into it. The Egyptians used the hieroglyphic script. It was written with reed pens on papyrus. The Chinese initially used pictographic script in the form of pictures, but then later on they developed signs, and they were written on silk, bamboo, and bone with the help of artistic brush strokes. Science. Mesopotamian civilization started counting using the sexagesimal system with 60 at its base. They made the lunar calendar as well, and this was 11 days short of our calendar. They divided a day into 24 hours, and the sky was divided into 12 parts, like the zodiac. The Egyptians used a solar calendar, and they calculated the year as 365 days, so they were short of only 1/4. However, the Chinese calculated the length of the year as 365 and quarter days. They were exact. How did they do this? By combining both the lunar and the solar calendars, and they could predict the eclipse. The Egyptians were also good at surgery and anatomy, and they made pyramids, and those pyramids showed the engineering skill of the Egyptians. What about worship? The Mesopotamians worshiped nature, and they also believed in life after death. The Egyptians also were nature worshippers. They also believed in life after death. Why do we know this? They used to embalm bodies by putting some salt and chemicals on the dead bodies, especially of kings, and they would mummify them. They'd make them so dry and desiccated, but they would preserve their form, and they'd wrap them up in clothing and put them along with gold and other things that they thought that they might use in the afterlife, and would bury them with it. Sun god Re was the most important among the gods. The kings were considered gods. What about the Chinese? They also worshiped nature. They would consult oracles or priests to know their future. This is a picture of the Hammurabi's code, which was found during the Mesopotamian civilization. This is a picture of the ziggurat. The main temple of each city was built on top of a step pyramid called the ziggurat. It was usually dedicated to the patron god, representing a natural phenomenon. This is the hieroglyphic script which was used during the Egyptian civilization. This is a picture of the cuneiform script. You can see the wedge-shaped engravings on the clay. This is the temple at Abu Simbel, which was during the Egyptian civilization. This is the Sphinx at Giza.